Hello, Assalamualaikum. Good morning, my dear students. I am Laila Farhana, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Bhawal Bodrialom Government College. Dear students, I would like to welcome you to this online class. The class I'm going to take is for the students of Honors First Year. Dear students, a very good morning to you all. I hope all of you are safe and sound by the grace of Almighty Allah. Dear students, maybe this is the second class of your Honors First Year. Dear students, we are passing through an unusual time with which we have no connection ever before. We have no habit to co-op with it in our previous life. But before 1.5 years ago, the pandemic burned out and we are entered in this unusual time. At the very first moment, maybe you feel some kind of uneasiness, some kind of hindrance, but with the passage of time, I think all of you can co-op with this situation very well. However, my dear students, I hope that very soon we will meet in a live classroom for what we are waiting for a long time. Dear students, today, before going to the text, I would like to discuss about the syllabus you will have in your first year. In your first year course, there are 6 courses. Among them, 4 courses are with English literature and 2 courses are out of English literature. Among those 4 courses, you have course code 211101 English reading skills, 211103 English writing skills, 211105 Introduction to Poetry, 211107 Introduction to Prose, Fiction and Non-Fiction. And another 2 courses which are not related with English literature, they are 212009 is Introducing Sociology, or you can get Introduction to Social Work or Introduction to Political Theory. That is, among these 3 subjects, you can get one, Sociology or Social Work or Political Science. And another important course that is very much essential and is a must, the course is 211501. The title of the course is History of the Emergence of Independent Bangladesh. স্বাধীন বাংলাদেশের অভ্যুদয়ের ইতিহাস. This class you will have twice in a week, and the classes related with English literature you will have thrice in a week. Today, Tuesday, I am Laila Farhana, will meet you, and my assigned course and the text which I will going to take or going to work with you, that is Introduction to Poetry. My dear students, you can collect this syllabus from library or you can download the syllabus from National University webpage. You have 2 options, or you can get it from your department. Dear students, in Introduction to Poetry, there are about 20 poems are there, and the poets, they are belong to different ages, different times of the time span of English literature, which is begin from the early century, that is from the 10th century and going on to the modern age. However, my assigned poetry today is excellent work of poet Thomas Gray, an renounced and famous English poet. He is a classic scholar. He is a professor. In his time, he was a professor of history in Cambridge University. And at the same time, he also taught modern language in the university. Thomas Gray, he was a poet of 18th century literature. and the poetry which make him really renounced, popular, and memorable even today. We choose that poetry. You can get it in your syllabus, and the name of the poetry is Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard. It's a big name. However, there is a new term or terminology for you here in the name, that is elegy. Elegy written in a country churchyard. Dear students, I think some of you know the meaning of the poem, the word elegy, and I think some of you, if it is a live class, then we will discuss about elegy. What is the meaning of elegy? Who can tell me the meaning of the elegy, the definition of elegy? And I think in that class I will find that some of you can tell me, some of you maybe know but cannot remember at that moment. However, dear students, let it be. In our live class we will discuss about it, but today I'm going to tell you about the word elegy. It's a term, literary term, elegy. Elegy means a long narrative poem which express sadness or lamentation. বাংলায় যদি আমরা বলি, আমরা তাহলে বলতে পারি এলিজি মানে হচ্ছে শোক গাথা. A long narrative poem expresses lamentation or sadness. That is called elegy. And elegy written in a country churchyard. Churchyard means, country means village area far away from madding crowd, and churchyard, you know, yard or a graveyard of a church or near the church. That is, our poet Thomas Gray, maybe he sat in a country churchyard and then wrote the poem which express deep lamentation or grief or sadness. That is elegy. And he also gave the poetry, I explained the title, that is elegy written in a country churchyard. Dear students, I would like you to open the text and let's read at the same time. Okay, another point before start the text. Elegy, that is lamentation. This lamentation can be very much personal. In general, it can be said that a poet, when he writes a poem on the death of his near or dear one, maybe his friend, maybe his beloved, maybe his parents, maybe his child, anybody, or sometimes the elegy can be written on anyone's death, which will express a universal lamentation or universal grief. That is also serve the purpose of an elegy. If you take the example of elegy which express personal sadness, you can take মুনির চৌধুরীর বিখ্যাত যে কবিতাটি আছে, কবর কবিতাটি, সেটা নিতে পারো. Or if you take elegy which shows universal lamentation, you can take this poetry, elegy written in a country churchyard. Here the poet deals with the death of general people who lives far away from the people who can take the attention of city or the town area, but the people who live far away from city area or town area, they always leave unnoticed. They leave unnoticed, they die unnoticed. Their talent, their wants, their solemnity, their happiness, everything leave unnoticed. But our poet feels that though unnoticed, but their feelings, their philosophy, their happiness, they are also are capable of being universal, capable of being royal, capable of being famous. But as they live far away from madding crowd, as they live far away from city, so they remain unnoticed. Though unnoticed, but their grief, their unhappiness, their happiness, they are not false, they are not lie, they are also true, they are also real, they also hold some kind of loftiness. However, dear students, while reading a poetry, my dear students, you have to remember some points to understand the philosophy of the poet or the poetry. And the points are, you have to go through the lifespan of the poet. You have to know the contemporary time the poet lives in. You have to know the philosophy, the personal philosophy of the poet. You have to know the mood of the poetry, the tone of the poetry. Mr. Thomas Gray, he is a classic scholar of his time, 18th century. He's a, as I have told you earlier, that he is a professor of Cambridge University. He is the only living son of his family, so that he has to meet many deaths of his family members that bring some kind of grief or unhappiness in his life, in his philosophy. So much of his writing contains some kind of sadness, some kind of aloofness, alyness in his writing. And the mood, the word elegy, this word tells us what is the mood and what is the tone of the poetry. Yes, the tone is very sad, melancholic. And the philosophy, it's a very brief, very deep philosophy of human life, as death is inevitable thing of human life. And another thing about Thomas Gray, which I have to tell you earlier, that is, he was born in Cornhill, London, in 1716 and died in 1771. So that he was called a poet of 18th century. And his country his village is just near London, in Buckinghamshire, that is called Stoke. And this churchyard is also situated in Stoke in Buckinghamshire, near London, England. He very frequently, in his early life, very frequently visited this place, his village, this country, which is situated in the country area of Buckinghamshire, and the name of his village is Stoke. and the solemnity, the tranquility, the peaceful environment of the country churchyards of Stoke Poges really attracts him a lot, so that when he tormented with some kind of turmoil in his life, or when he feel depressed, or when he feel really unhappy, just to find out some kind of peace or tranquility, he ran to this place, Stoke Poges, and he just sit alone in the churchyard area and try to find himself again. This area, though it is a country churchyard or graveyard, but he finds himself revived, refreshed again. The tranquility, the peaceful environment of the churchyard all again make him alive, refreshed, and revived. However, this country churchyard plays a very important and strong role in his personal life and in his poet life. Dear student, let's go through the poem. Elegy written in a country churchyard. The curfew tolls the knell of parting day. The lowing heart winds slowly over the lea. The ploughman homeward plots his weary way and leaves the world to darkness and to me. Dear students, I think if you read this stanza carefully, you can feel the atmosphere, you can feel the time of the poet when he writes this poetry, or when he passed the time in country churchyard. Again, I read the stanza. The curfew. The students, the curfew, this word is very much familiar to you, but I think you know another meaning of curfew. Curfew is, maybe to you, curfew is related with 144 or something like this. But spatially, or if we know the real meaning of the word curfew, then it can be said that it's basically a ringing bell in the evening that reminded people to finish their work and return back to home or prepare for bed. That is, it is the time of just starting the before the evening or the night, just before the setting sun, the time you can call twilight. It's a parting time, parting between day and night, a very mysterious time in a day. The curfew tolls the knell of parting day. This curfew, the ringing bell of curfew, tells us the announcement of parting day, that is the end of the day and the start of a night. The lowing heart winds slowly over the lea. Lea is a field full of grass. The lowing heart wind slowly. Lowing means sound of the cow or the cattle. The lowing heart, the cattle or the cows which are returned their way to home, their cries or making sound, that sound is called lowing heart. It's a transferred epithet. Wind slowly over the lea. The wind and the sound of the cattle returning back to the home, everything plays a soft impression on the grass field that is over the lea. The ploughman homeward plots his weary way. The ploughman, the farmers, return back home, that is homeward plots. Plot is a heavy way. His weary way. This weary way is an interesting phrase. Weary means tired, and way, you know, the road or the way to the home. How can a way or a road can be weary? Yes, dear students, it's not the road or the way. It is the ploughmen or the farmers who become very much tired. Their tiredness reflects on the road. It's an example of transferred epithet. The tiredness of the farmer is reflected in the way to the home. That is, the way become tired. The long way to home become tired, weary way, and leaves the world to darkness and to me. All the people who are engaged all the plowmen, the cattlemen who engaged in the field in their daily works at daytime, with the sound of curfew bell, they return back to their home, because the night comes, it is time to stop the work for the day, to take their dinner at the home, so they return home. All the people, all the plowmen, all the cattle, through the way to their village, they took that way and slowly returned back to their home. And in the outer world, in the churchyard, where our poet, he sat alone, he remains alone. All the people, all the cattlemen, they leave him alone in a graveyard. Now fades the glimmering landscape on the side, and all the air a solemn stillness holds, save where the beetle wheels his droning flight, and drowsy tickling lull the distant poles. Now fades the glimmering landscape, the landscape on the side, as the darkness shades over the world around the scenario. So all the glimmering landscape becomes shaded slowly on his side, and all the air a solemn stillness hold. And to him it seems that all the world, the outer atmosphere, becomes still, because the air doesn't blow at that time, save where the beetle wheels his droning flight. And the beetle, the insect which can make some kind of sound with their wings, this sound, his droning flight, and drowsy tinkling lull the distant folds. And drowsiness, some kind of drowsiness spills over there, and lull, that lull means lullaby, ঘুমপাড়ানি গান, মনে হচ্ছে চারদিকে ঘুমপাড়ানি গানের সুর ছড়িয়ে পড়ছে. Save that from yonder ivy-mantled tower, the moping owl does to the moon complain of such as, wandering near her secret bower, molest her ancient solitary reign. Then he gave us another description of the night coming weather, when night comes, when the darkness shaded all over the world. Then another scenario is, another incident is occurred there in the churchyard. In the church, in the tower of the church, which was covered with ivy leaves, say that from yonder ivy-mantled tower, ivy leaves covered the tower, and in that tower there is a hole, and in that hole the leaved owl. You know, this bird, it do not come out in the sunlight, because it is said that owl, it cannot tolerate the light of the sun or even of the moon. So when the moon comes in the sky, the moonlight flashed out all over the field, or all over the tower, all over the churchyard, then the owl, wandering near the secret bower, molests her ancient solitary ring. He complains against the moonlight. The moping owl does to the moon complain of such as wandering near her secret bower. As he lives secretly in the hole of the tower of the church, molest her ancient solitary reign. He complains against the moonlight. Why? Because maybe moonlight molest her ancient solitary reign. তার যে নিজের যে রাজত্ব রয়েছে, একেবারেই খুব প্রাচীন যে রাজত্ব রয়েছে, আলাদা অন্ধকার, সেই রাজত্বে ডিস্টার্ব করার জন্য সে কি করছে, চাঁদের বিরুদ্ধে অভিযোগ করছে. এটা একটা, he just gives us the description of the time and the situation around him at that moment. Beneath those rugged elms that yew trees shade, where heaves the turf in many a mouldering heap, each in his narrow cell forever laid, the rude forefathers of the hamlet sleep. In this stanza, dear students, this stanza also gives us the description of the place near churchyard, but here our poet tells us about the graveyard. Dear students, here we get excellent phrase, forefathers of the hamlet. This hamlet, dear students, maybe you know that Hamlet is a piece of writing of Shakespeare, but here Hamlet is not that piece of writing. Hamlet is a small village in which the churchyard is situated. Dear students, today we read the first 4 stanzas, and in this stanza we get the description of the time of the atmosphere, and at the same time, the mental condition of our poet Thomas Gray. Dear students, in our next class, we will read out the next stanzas. But before going to that stanza, I would like you to read this stanza yourself. Try to find out new words, try to find out the meaning of the words in English, and try to make new sentences with that words so that you can memorize, or you can get the words very easily. Dear students, this is all for today. Hope to see you in our next class. And again, I urge you to maintain all the health particulars as earlier. Stay safe, stay home. Dear students, Allah Hafiz.